Good morning, everyone. My name is Crystal Jane D. Seronay, and I am here to discuss my topic about toward a sustainable world. Learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, students are expected to differentiate stability from sustainability and articulate models of global sustainable development. Lesson 1: Sustainable Development. Each year, desertification claims 6 million hectares, potentially reaching Saudi Arabia's size in 30 years. Deforestation destroyed 11 million hectares annually, possibly equaling India's size in 30 years, impacting farmland. The Brundtland Commission's Our Common Future defines sustainable development. It addresses environmental decline and its economic and social impact. Sustainable development is refined as the ability to meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This concept encompasses two primary ideas: the concept of needs, in particular the essential needs of the world poor, to which overriding priority should be given, and the idea of limitations imposed by the states of technology and social organization on the environment's ability to meet present and future needs. Consequently, economic and social development objectives globally must be meticulously aligned with the principle of sustainability. While definitions of sustainability may vary across contexts, they consistently emphasize certain fundamental features. These include economic, social, and cultural intercon- interconnectedness among people worldwide. So, the sustainable development is a way of meeting current human needs for things like foods, water, energy, and shelter without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. It's preserving natural resources, reducing pollution, and preventing climate change to keep ecosystem healthy. And also, it's the growth of economic, like creating job, ensuring fair access to resources, and building prosperous communities without overexploiting the planet. And also a social equity, like promoting justice, equality, and access to education, healthcare, and basic rights of all people regardless of background. In short, it's about finding a sweet spot where people thrive, economics grow, and nature is protected, not choosing one over the others. Stability. The term stability is used by scientists in various fields of science. In general, stability means the ability of the system to keep it in the given parameter, and it is characterized by three aspects. The stability refers to the state of being resistant to change or displacement. It encompasses aspects like inertia, constancy, and resilience. Inertia, the ability of a system to resist being disturbed or altered, like the tendency of a system to remain on its current state, resisting changes to its equilibrium. And then the constancy is the ability of a system to maintain a certain size or state, and like the ability to maintain consistent states or level over time despite external influences. And the last is resilience. Resilience is the ability of a system to recover after disturbance. Example is the explanation is the capacity of a system to recover quickly from disturbances and return to its original states or a new stable state. That's it. Sustainability. Sustainable development involves limitation due to technology and the biosphere's capacity. It aims to meet everyone's basic needs and aspirations without harming Earth's life-supporting system. While we share one biosphere, communities prioritize their own prosperity, leading to unequal resources consumption. Some overconsume, endangering future generations, while others face deprivation. Environmental sustainability is crucial for achieving economic, sociocultural, and political stability. Without it, a balanced and prosperous world is at- unattainable. To explain is that sustainability is the practice of using resources in a way that meets present needs without depleting or damaging them for future generations. It integrates three core areas: protecting the environment, supporting fair economic growth, and ensuring social equity for all people. At its heart, it's about creating a balanced, lasting world where humans and nature can thrive together. Stability versus sustainability. Stability refers to the state of being resistant to change, disturbance, or displacement. It implies a system ability to maintain its original condition or equilibrium. Example, a sturdy bridge that can withstand heavy traffic and harsh weather conditions without collapsing demonstrates stability. Like stability ensures reliability and predictability, providing a secure foundation for various processes and structures. It is often characterized by inertia, constancy, and resilience. Sustainability is the capacity to maintain ecological, social, and economic processes over time, ensuring the future generation can meet their needs. It involves using resources responsibly to avoid depletion or degradation. Example, implementing renewable energy resources like solar and wind power to reduce dependence on fossil fuels and minimize environmental impacts is an example of promoting sustainability. Like focuses on balancing present needs with long-term environmental and social well-being. It requires considering the interconnectedness of system and the consequences of action on future generations.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Betty Calago, and my topic is all about models of global sustainable development. So, in this systematic model that explains how the world must organize itself to achieve sustainability, and it states that seven different systems must function effectively and in harmony. The pursuit of sustainable development requires by Brundtland and Khalid in 1987. So the first one is a political system that secures effective citizen participation in decision making. So it ensures development, reflects the needs and values of the people, and promotes democratic accountability. Next is an economic system that is able to generate surpluses and technical knowledge on a self-reliant and sustained basis. So it provides the resources necessary for investment in social and environmental solutions. So next is a social system that provides for solutions for the tensions arising from this harmonious development. So it manages the conflicts, addresses inequality, and promotes social stability. So the next one is a production system that respects the obligation to preserve the ecological base for development. So it directly addresses the environmental failure by limiting resource exploitation and pollution. A technological system that can search continuously for new solutions. So it drives innovation for cleaner energy, efficient resource use, and environmental cleanup. So next is an international system that fosters sustainable patterns of trade and finance. So it ensures that global economic interaction support rather than undermine national sustainability efforts. And the last one is an administrative system that is flexible and has the capacity for self-correction. So, it allows governments and organizations to adopt policies based on new information and changing environmental or social realities. So, let's talk about the what is sustainable development. So, the core concept of this sustainable development is famously defined in the Brundtland and College in 1987 it is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. So there are three inseparable and mutually reinforcing pillars. So the first one is economic development. So it generating growth and prosperity. The second is social equity, ensuring well-being, health, and justice for all people. And the last one is environmental protection, and it preserving natural resources and the planets and ecological system. In conclusion, sustainable development requires national and international cooperation addressing economic, social, and environmental pillars. So, economic development alone is insufficient. Reducing vulnerability through technology is crucial. So, it ensures present and future needs are met without exploiting natural resources and promoting harmony in investment, technology, and the environment. So the model concludes that development is not sustainable if it ignores these systematic needs. For example, by increasing a community's vulnerability to crisis or by increasing resource depletion. So my next topic is Sustainable Development Goals. So since the Millennium Development Goals launched in 2000, intended to make global progress on poverty, education, health, hunger, and the environmental expired. So the UN member states are finalizing the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, to replace it. So it means that Millennium Development Goals is no longer used. Then the UN member states replaced and they called it Sustainable Development Goals. So there are 17 steps to attain sustainable development from 2015 to 2030, and these are as follows. So number 1 is end poverty in all its forms everywhere. 2, end hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. 3, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. 4, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. 5, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. 6, ensures availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. 7, ensures access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. 8, promotes sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. 9, build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. 10, reduce inequality within and among countries. So 11, make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. 12, ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. 13, take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. 14, conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. 15, protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. 16. Promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development. Provide access to justice for all and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. And last one is 17. Strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. So the main purpose of the SDGs is to provide a universal plan for achieving a better and more sustainable for future for everyone by the year 2030. So the conclusion is these are new sets of global goals and targets that will serve as basis for UN member states in framing their agenda and political policies in the next 15 years.
Right now, we discuss about global food security. Learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, students are expected to define global food security and critique existing models of global food security. What is food security? Refers to the availability and accessibility of an individual to get sufficient quantity of food that is reliable and affordable. Food security exists when all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious foods that meets their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. Food security means ensuring that every person can regularly get enough safe, nutritious food that fits their needs and preferences so they can live a healthy and active life. It focuses on two main ideas. Availability. There must be enough food produced or supplied. And accessibility. People must be able to physically and economically obtain that food at a reliable and affordable cost. The four important parts of food securities are availability, sufficient food supply. Having a sufficient supply of foods, kanang naa kay enough foods nga imong kaon 3 times a day. And access, people's ability to obtain food like physical, economic. People's ability to get foods whether by buying or other means. And utilization. Using food properly in the body, which includes good nutrition and food safety. And the last is stability. Ensuring access to food is consistent over time without disruptions. The current global situation: 1 in 7 people live on less than $1 a day. 815 million people still go hungry despite enough global foods productions. Global population expected to reach 10 billion by 2050. Food production must increase by 50%. Hunger persists even with technological progress. The global situation reveals that despite sufficient food productions, 815 million people still suffer from hunger and 1 in 7 lives on less than $1 a day, with the world population expected to reach 10 billion by 2050. Food production must increase by 50% to meet the growing demand. Unfortunately, hunger persists even with technological advancement in food production and distribution. That's all. Thank you. That's my part. And the next reporter is.
So next, models of global food security. Prevalent model. Focus. Grow more food using technology. Uses biotechnology. Requires investments in infrastructure and farm productivity. So these models wants to produce more using technology. Next, trade-based market-oriented model. Emphasize global trade and report-oriented agriculture. belief market will meet people food needs. Criticism benefits corporations, harms small farmers, and ignores illogical impact. So, these models depends on global trade, believing the market will solve food needs, but sometimes it harms small farmers. Next, models of global food security. Right based model. Food as a fundamental human right advocates right to food movement. Government must guarantee access to adequate food. CESCR 1999. Food sovereignty model concept. The right of people to healthy and culturally appropriate food and to participate in decision making about their food system. So next is criticism to the existing models of global food security. Disregard for power relations. Existing models often overlook social and political context that determine who has access to food. Brundtland Commission's Report 1987. So disregard for power relations is they ignore the social and political factors that affect who gets access to food. Next, emphasis on trade-based solutions. Push agricultural trade liberalization and favors market-led corporate agriculture negatively impact smallholders, farmers, and marginalized communities. So, emphasis on trade-based risk solution is they push trade and cooperate agriculture, which harms small farmers and marginalized communities. Next, neglect of small-scale procedure. Improved technology and economic incentives have often bypassed and small farmers been neglected. So, neglect of small skills procedures. So, technology and support often do not reach small farmers, so they are left behind. So, thank you. So, next, food sovereignty proponents. Core focus reject markets and check on capitalist food regimes' ecological sustainability. Key points call for a new model based on local community control and right involves the democratization of national food policies, localized food supply chains, re-regulating the food commodity market for fair prices both farmers and consumers, greater public investment in agriculture, genuine agrarian reform to provide better access to land and ensure security to small and marginalized farmers, and the prioritization of agroecological approaches, among other things. So, kaning food sovereignty is believes that the market should not control the food system. So, they want local. So, nag-focus ni sa pag-protect sa environment ug paghatag og rights sa farmers.
Good morning, classmate. My name is Ronan Inyo Birao. I'm reporting factors influencing global food security. These are major reasons why food security is becoming harder to achieve globally. So, rising food price property has a increase for families struggle to afford nutritious food. So next, world population growth and higher food demand. More people, more food needed to global supply must keep up. Next, rising incomes and growing per capita capita food consume. So as people learn more, their need tend to eat more or choose more resources in intensive foods like meat. So ano siya, so raising cost of fuel, agricultural inputs. So kani pagmahal sa pagmahal sa gasolina, fertilizer, pesticide and fuel become more expensive, making food for production costly. So muna siya ang rising cost of fuel and agricultural inputs. So next, stagnant and declining agricultural growth. So some communities have slow and declining crop and production due to lack to investment for infrastructure or reduce government support. So next about the challenges of global food security. So climate change, extreme heat, the flooding and winter copy yields and affect water supply. So pag init ng init, so mga matano, mga laya kay way og ganang pagubas sa mga kanang na mga fish pond. So makapekto na siya tungod sa kainit. So climate change, so one example for climate change. So di na punta sa disaster risk. So natural disaster like typhoon, earthquakes, floods, and muna siya ang kuan pagbaha na siya dapat na magkwanta mag handa sa mga unsay manghitabo about ana ba kay hadlo kay na siya nga kuan. So next, democracy challenging growing population, aging population and democracy, growing population, aging population and migration patterns affect labor ability and food demand. So kaning democracy change, so ang democracy change kay pagtubo sa populasyon. So kapikto sa mga available nga labor, so labor o mga demand na sa pagkaon. So mo na siya ang demographic change. So next, dili na punta sa last, urban growth. So urban growth kay as more people move to cities from land, decrease and demand for process and transported for an increase. So ang mga tao nibalin sa mga syudad para makakuan sa kanang kapobre, para musaka ang mga kuan kinahanglan sa mga ang kinahanglan balinta kay para balin sa lain nasod sid o kanang gi transport nga pagkaon. So more na about sa akong kuan sa report. Thank you is for me now. So
That's the end of all our topic, and thank you for listening.